Oh, well, that would be it. I got it. Can you hear me now? Yeah, waiting to see if everybody's got me now. Maybe. Oh, well, that would be it. I got it. Can you hear me now? Myself. Okay. All right. Well, we got it. My bad. Anyway, so as I was saying, been a lot of news this week. There's been a lot of stuff that we're talking about, and so I wanted to talk about some stuff that it's not really like out there. I mean, like it's been kind of covered, but it's not covered like the stuff with the Senate parliamentarian or the SCOTUS decisions. It's just it's stuff that's just not really getting that kind of attention. And I really think that there is some stuff that we kind of really need to be giving some of that attention. So appreciate everybody dropping in here. Let's see here. No, 5x5. All right, so good. Everybody's hearing me now. All right, cool. Repost the show and get everyone in here. Yep, absolutely. That's important. Let's do that. Everybody jump on in here. Do make sure that we hit the thumbs up. Absolutely. We got it. We're rocking. Okay. So you probably are wondering, what are we going to talk about, right? What exactly is this feel-good stuff that we're talking about? So I did some research, throughout the week, and there are some things that I thought was quite interesting. So now one of the things was the simple fact that, and I went to Grok, okay, because Grok is like my new go-to AI tool, at least for some stuff. It seems to be very good for at least finding news that's been posted. I don't ask it, what is the news? It just give me like the basics, right? So I saw a thing that was posted out by Dan Bongino, right? And what he had posted was they had made a significant operation where they rescued 224 children and arrested 449 predators across multiple locations. Okay. And it says that though the specifics of these additional arrests are not detailed, the claim is indicated that it is with wild, contribution by many different law enforcement agencies, including here in Florida, where I'm located at. And I just thought, I'm like, man, why isn't anybody like really talking about this? Like, should be something that we're kind of bringing to the attention of people, right? And I know that we want to be talking about this. I mean, let's just think for a second here, because one of the things that's always on our mind, when we're thinking about the FBI and whatnot, is where are we at with these Epstein files, right? And we all know what Epstein did. He had, human trafficked these young girls to his island and basically used them as sex slaves for all of the elites throughout the world. So again, here we are, we're talking about where it's not necessarily one person, but they have made a significant impact. I'm talking like you rescued 224 children. 224 children. How is this not like front page news? Okay. I mean, trust me, I get it. Trump is dominating with all the great stuff that he's doing. The SCOTUS decisions, they all look fantastic and we're happy, yippity-doo-dah. But why? Why are we not champion the rescue of 224 children? Okay. Not only does this take and indicate that we have a significant problem in this country with human trafficking in sexual predators, that we need to be seriously addressing this. Okay. Meanwhile, the people in Congress, okay, they couldn't be anywhere near interested in any of this. Okay. They don't have a bill going on that would take and address this. They don't, nothing. Okay, there's nothing in one big beautiful bill that it's going to take and provide, massive resources and funding to local law enforcement agencies in order to work in collaboration with federal law enforcement agencies so that we can track down more than 449 predators. There are more than 449 predators in this country. I mean, we're talking a fraction of a fraction of a fraction, okay, of the people in this country. And you're telling me that, 449 is all we got? I know we can do better. I know for a fact we can do better. Okay. Looking over at the chat, looking sharp, Grand Max says. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. I broke out the spiffy tie tonight. It goes well with my shirt. And people don't want to face the truth. When I bring it up, I get the deer in the headlight look, and they say, I didn't know that. Well, duh. Yeah, exactly. No wonder you didn't know that, because nobody wants to talk about this, right? Which is why here on Friday night on Boiling Point Live, we're talking about it, because it needs to be talked about. This is something that needs to be championed. We should be screaming at the top of our lungs. Congratulations to these law enforcement officers for putting in the investigative work in order to rescue 224 people. That's amazing. 224 kids were rescued from someone who was either human trafficking them for sex or using them as a sex toy in some fashion, okay? That sounds absolutely disgusting, and it is. These people are the scum of the earth. Absolute scum, okay? In my opinion, when you find a child predator, we should just go ahead and take care of business right there and then. We don't have to worry about a trial. We can just move on with our day. Okay? That's what I think. That's my idea. Everybody wants to talk about due process. Listen, due process is fine. Okay? You want to give them a trial, and they want to plead not guilty, whatever. Listen, when they're found guilty and they get the death penalty, I don't know why we're waiting 30 years. We don't need to wait 30 years. I'll give you a year, okay? You got 1 year. If you can't get your crap together in 1 year, buddy, guess what? You're headed to the old electric chair up there in Tallahassee. They ain't got no time to be playing around with you. So, yeah, absolutely. So these people, which, by the way, let's really think about this for a second, okay? The main reason why a lot of the media just kind of they were like, yeah, they rescued 224 kids. Okay. And they just kind of brushed it off and they got buried to like the bottom of the news cycle, right? Is because there are so many people in our government that we suspect are on the Epstein list, right? That do this exact same stuff. They rely on these kinds of predators to provide them with children, okay? So that they can take and do sexual deviant behavior to them. There is something seriously wrong with these people. We have to take them and really bring this to light. We can no longer sit by and just imagine for a moment that, well, I mean, I know it's out there. I kind of know that it's a thing, but I don't want to talk about it because it's like, I don't know. I mean, I get it. It's not your TikTok worthy video. You can't do it by taking a picture in the bathroom and showing everybody all your nice fancy stuff. But that's where the problem is. Not only are these children being extorted for sex, okay, they're being basically hunted online, because these people are predators. They are being hunted online. They pretend to be someone that they're not. They will drive across jurisdictional lines to go and meet kids, okay? There are videos out there of officers waiting on these people to show up and getting arrested, okay? Videos of it. So they're out there. They are out there. Don't let them fool you that this stuff doesn't happen, okay? This is not, the sick stuff that you're seeing on, Criminal Minds or whatever, okay? Where it's just like fictional. It's not fictional. It is 100% factual, okay? What you see on TV is just a minuscule of the kind of sexual predators that they have in this world. And those are part of the 449 people that the FBI, along with local, state law enforcement, took and captured in their arrest and rescued 224 children. Now, that was posted on June 21st, 2025. Let's roll back a little bit, okay? Because there was an operation called Sotira Shield out of North Texas in April of this year. The FBI Dallas office and the North Texas Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force led a month-long operation resulting in 244 arrests and a rescue of 109 children. I guarantee you have not heard that story. Okay? They rescued 109 children, many of whom were reported missing. My goodness. You're telling me that these kids that have been on the missing flyers, okay? I mean, we used to say they were on the milk cartons, but nobody gets milk in a carton anymore, okay? So yeah, so now they're on these flyers, okay? You've got parents out there that have been, worried sick for the whole time they've been missing, and now you're telling me that all of a sudden, here we are, we did an operation and we got 244 arrests and the rescue of 109 children back in April. Okay? This is the interesting stuff, is that all this stuff is in 2025. Does anybody know what happened in 2025? Oh, well, let me see. Oh, I know. Donald Trump became president. Donald Trump became president. We no longer have a pedo in the Oval Office, okay? Because we all know that's what Joe Biden was, okay? I mean, the guy is just sick, okay? Going around sniffing people and touching them inappropriately, while he was vice president and senator. I mean, God, there's hundreds of videos of this, okay? We all know this. I mean, good God. Even, what was it? His granddaughter or yeah, I think it was his granddaughter wrote in a diary about taking a shower with grandpa. Like, whoa, hold on here. Okay. Serious stuff. But for 4 years, we didn't have any law and order. We didn't have anybody that was pushing for this. We actually had the opposite. We had an executive branch that was trying to restrict the ability of law enforcement to go out and conduct operations like this because it doesn't look good. What if you end up, finding somebody that donated to, Joe Biden's campaign? What about that? What happens there? Because that would be bad, right? So in the Operation Sotira Shield, over 70 Texas law enforcement agencies collaborated, focusing on crimes like child pornography and sex trafficking. FBI Director Kash Patel and local officials emphasized the operation's success in sending a strong message to predators. Yeah, that was in April. But that's okay, though. That's not the only one. You're going to be like, wait a minute, what do you mean it's not the only one? Let's talk about Operation Restore Justice. Nationwide operation headed by the FBI, and it was conducted in May of 2025. And it says that there were 55 field officers. They executed a 5-day crackdown, arresting 205 child sex predators and rescuing 115 children. Okay. It targeted online enticement, production and distribution of child sex abuse and trafficking. Notable arrests included a Minnesota state trooper, a DC police officer, and a Florida teacher. Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel highlighted the operation's historic scale and urged parents to monitor children's online activity. I actually have that YouTube here. We're gonna pull up. We're gonna watch that real quick. Yeah, there she be. Give me a second here. Let me switch screens. And we're going to go here. All right, here we go.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here. We have a busy day here at the Department of Justice, as I'm sure a lot of you have seen already. Today, we are proud to announce the results of the FBI's Operation Restore Justice initiative. This historic, unprecedented nationwide operation led to the arrest of 205 child sex predators. Unbelievable. In just 5 days. This was an incredible operation done in conjunction with the FBI and our prosecutors. Children and their families now have a chance to heal. These are online predators. Think about this. 115 victims, children. In 5 days, we were able to help.
That's remarkable.
This kind of work
that is absolutely remarkable. You got to think about it. An operation that lasted for 5 days netted, okay, 205 arrests and rescued 115 children, people, in 5 days. We're not talking like a month-long operation or anything like that. We're talking something that made a significant impact in a very short period of time. So yeah, that to me that is wow. Okay, that is huge kudos to them.
Toll on the FBI agents and the prosecutors who are doing this every single day. They are working tirelessly online, dealing with the dregs of our society, the worst of the worst, the people that hide behind a computer and target our young children every single day. Our law enforcement, our prosecutors sit there and deal with this every day to get these monsters off the street. Director Patel and I, almost daily in our meetings, talk about these cases and what it does to our officers and our prosecutors, but also how many lives are being saved and how many children are being helped by this. Director Patel is going to get into the specific cases with you in a minute, but what I will tell you is these depraved human beings, if convicted, will face the maximum penalty in prison, some life. We will find you, we will arrest you, and we will charge you. If you are online targeting a child, you will not escape us. The FBI and the Department of Justice will come after you, and we will prosecute you. Parents, you have to know, this is so serious. Your child has no right to privacy on the internet. None. You have to monitor what your kids are doing, whether they're playing games on the internet, on social media, any other websites that children, teenagers frequent, an online predator can find them. I always say it's from instant message to instant night.
So yeah, that is their briefing there. The chat real quick. Hey, look, Tick Pickin' McGrine is here. Hello, Tick. How you doing? And Jason is here. Hello, Jason. Whoa, Chris's World is here. What's going on, Chris? We're over here. We're talking about some things that are just not exactly on, you know, the mainstream world of things. So we're highlighting some good things. That's what we're doing. And let's move on. So far we've talked about Director Dan Bongino, his post on June 21st. And then we rolled it back to April with Operation Sotero Shield out of North Texas. They arrested 244 and rescued 109 children. Many of them were missing. Okay, they were reported missing. So then we took and we moved to May, which was the last video that we just watched. And that was Operation Restore Justice. They arrested 205 sex predators and rescued 115 children. So now we're kind of caught up as far as what that is. Oh, wait a minute. We had another one on June 6th. Interpol reported 20 arrests across 12 countries, including the U.S., for producing and distributing child sexual abuse material following a Spanish police investigation into a suspicious messaging group. Okay. I don't look like a judge. Do not throw me in that group of people, okay? If there's anything about judges that we can all agree on right now is they don't know what the law is, okay? I know what the law is. I'm good. I'd be a hell of an attorney, though. Just saying. So that was on June 6th. So that's out of Interpol, right? Moving on to the next thing, which was Operation Dragon Eye. Now, this one comes out of my home state of Florida. All right, so the U.S. Marshals Service, alongside with Florida authorities, announced the rescue of 60 children ages 9 to 17 in a multi-agency effort targeting child sex trafficking. 8 individuals were arrested on human trafficking charges, with investigations ongoing. This operation was described as one of the most successful missing child recovery efforts in U.S. history. Wow. Wow. Again, this is not at the center of the news, okay? Why isn't this at the center of the news? All right? That's what is killing me, and that is why I wanted to take and I wanted to cover this tonight. I wanted to talk about that, okay? You know, it needs to be something that we're focused on. I can't understand why we're not focused on this, okay? Not only are we talking about, you know, these operations where they've arrested these people, but if you remember back, the White House had pictures, okay, all across the White House lawn, right in front of the press corps, all right, that had pictures of illegal immigrants that did some of these very same crimes that these people are getting arrested for. Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's look here. All right, we moved on. I do not. Savage Patriot, not passive. That is so true. Chris's World says, the judge. Tick says, I got kicked in the teeth. Savage. Jason says, Judge Dredd. Yeah, I do. Listen, Judge Dredd was a great movie. I thought that was great. I really did. So yeah, so that's some of the stuff, right? You know, and then I wanted to take, and I also wanted to look at this other thing where, now that I'm not ready for that yet. I think we're still on this one here. So we know that there was a coordinated effort. It was successful by the FBI, the DOJ, state and local agencies to combat child exploitation with a focus of online platforms and trafficking networks. Chris's World says they don't talk about it because the ones who own the media are the recipients of the children being trafficked. You are 100% correct. Absolutely correct. I totally agree with that. So not only is it the people that own the network, okay, it's also some of our, you know, lawmakers, you know, that are in Congress or bureaucrats in some of these governmental positions, okay? Which is why, you know, we're waiting on this list, this Epstein list. Like, where are we at with this list, okay? Like, we need to know, all right, who is on this list, you know? And you just think about that for a moment, okay? We're talking about a list now that is obviously a very old list at this point, or, you know, at least it's, you know, it's got that, right? So not only will we find out who's on those lists, hopefully, but we're also thinking that if the FBI is ramping up these efforts right now, that they can track down human traffickers and sexual predators, I'm wondering when we're going to start to see some of these people. Now, this Operation Restore Justice, the one in May, okay, said that they arrested a Minnesota state trooper, a DC police officer, and of course, Florida had to get thrown in there. I mean, oh my God, people. I don't know what's with Florida people. I don't know why we think we need to be in news, okay? Literally, we are the state where they literally go and on the news and they're like, well, Florida, man. You just know that there's some dumb shit that comes right after that, right? And it only could happen in Florida. Because why not, right? So a Florida teacher. Now, you would think that I would be surprised, that you would be surprised. But boy, let me tell you what. Florida, like we are like, I don't know. We're like a magnet for these people, okay, in the school system. I could probably take and pull up hundreds of teachers that have been arrested for either having a sexual relationship with their student, okay, or doing some other sexual stuff at their school, okay, or getting picked up for having child pornography. All right. Or better yet, they took and they traveled to another county to go and meet an underage kid to try and have sex. That's sickening. There is a sickness, okay? So no, it does not surprise me that a Florida teacher is in this list, okay? Especially as something that would be notable, okay? All right, looking over here at the chat. Let's see. I like looking at the chat, and interacting here. I don't talk about it because it's the ones who own me. Yeah, we did that. Jason says Muhammad and Murdoch are maps. I don't know what that is. See above rant. I ain't typing that again. What the hell? What? We ain't never gonna see any list. Probably not. I don't need a list. I need to see perp walks. Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to see that. Don't hold your breath, Pickles. That's not me. That's not me, Dick. Highway Dog said it. Bandit says, I will see a unicorn long before I see the Epstein list. And Jason says, hey, John, maybe you just named some of them off. Coincidence? The list was a delay in the new, and then Amy arrests more pedos and traffickers than any time in our beautiful history. And Highway Dog says, damn, double whammy. Thanks, Rev. No peeing in the chat. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Map is the new term the left is using for pedos. Seriously? Oh, that's no good. That's no good. I have to look at that. But yeah, we have a serious problem. And I am extremely thankful. I am so happy to see that the FBI is making a serious impact into something that has plagued our country for, I can't even tell you how many years at this point. I mean, pretty much ever since the internet, became a thing. By the way, thanks, Al Gore. We appreciate that. The internet. Great. Bandit says map equals minor attracted person. Really? Okay. So yeah, I mean, even Interpol got in on this. I mean, listen, Interpol could have done more than 20 arrests out of 12 countries. Okay? 20 arrests out of 12 countries. But okay, it is what it is. But I mean, come on. There is so much more. We know that there's more. Okay? I've never done any of these investigations. Honestly, I don't know if I could take I could stand to watch some of this stuff or talk to these people. There was a case that I went to where the uncle of a 2-year-old little boy raped that little boy. Okay. And I was new on the job, and I'm telling you right now, if it wasn't for my supervisor making me go back and stay in my car, I don't know, I'd be sitting here talking to you, because I probably would have went and just beat the ever living dog shit out of this guy. I mean, it was something. I mean, you see that and you just get so angry. And you can't believe that another human being would do that to a 2-year-old child. What the fuck is wrong with you? Sorry. That one popped out, okay? My bad, Rev. But that is just oh my God. Oh. Yeah. You mean to call them pedos? The left always likes to sanitize the perversion with made-up terms. Really? Jason says, really, the dumb are trying to minimize raping children. Demons. Yeah, it is very demonic. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then that in itself is sick. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I will tell you, okay, I took a detective class, okay? And the guy that taught the class, this was what his focus was, okay? He was all in on talking to sexual predators, people with child porn, people that wanted to go into the bathroom and touch the little boys. I mean, he could go in, and it was like he would walk in and start talking to the guy, and the next thing you know, the guy's doing a full-on confession, like, and and it's not like it's a confession like he's sorrowful or anything like that. It is like he is boasting about, yeah, that's what I did, and it was so great and everything, and me, I'm sitting here watching this interview, and I'm like, how are you not coming across the table and beating the ever living dog crap out of this guy, right? Like, that's where I would be, but he's calm and he's cool and he's collected, which is great because he had so many convictions. Okay, so many convictions on the way that he would interview these people. All right, and he would just literally get them to just be like, yeah, I did it, and it was great, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, they are that into this stuff. Okay, so we've known for a long time in law enforcement, we've known for a long time that this is a significant problem, but we've never had anybody really try and get a handle on it until now, in my opinion. Okay, I mean, I've been in this line of work for over 2 decades, and I'm telling you that we're finally getting somewhere with these types of operations. All right, I would love to work on one of these operations, because this really hits, I don't know, a special place in my heart, and the simple fact that they're finding the children live, and these are missing kids. Okay. That right there would make me want to take and be on one of these task forces. Absolutely. Absolutely. I would do that. I would do that. So that is the little bit of the good news that I had. It is something that I wanted to try and push out because, again, I don't see it being, really broadcast and really pushed out by the mainstream media. You've got some law enforcement agencies that have obviously they posted on their social media about it, but again, they're not, it's not getting out there. It just really needs to be highlighted. This is something that we should be very happy about, that they went out and they've arrested these people and they rescued so many kids. So they rescued 109, they rescued 60, they rescued 115, and they rescued 224. That is significant. Significant. Okay. Let's see here. See if I can add that up real quick. I get my handy dandy calculator out here. All right, so 109 plus 115 plus it was 60 plus 224. 508. 508 kids that they've rescued since April. That is astonishing. That is good police work right there. That is fantastic. Okay? That's the kind of stuff that you want to see on your Criminal Minds TV show, or or on the FBI, or whatever it is TV show that you're watching out there, to see 508 kids in 4 months. Is it 4 months? No. April, May, June. 3 months. In 3 months, they've rescued 508 kids. That blows my mind. Blows my mind. 508 kids. I'm telling you, this should be on 60 Minutes. This should be everywhere. If you got a special show on mainstream media, why are you not talking about this? Where you at there, Jesse Waters? Stop worrying about Gavin Newsom and your new lawsuit. Start talking about this. Okay? Make this big time news. Make this, because I'm telling you right now, if you start making this big time news, you're going to send a message to the rest of these sexual deviant predators out there in this country that are trying to take our kids off the street or take kids from other countries and traffic them for sex. And you're going to send the message to them, and they're going to be like, maybe, and I'm just saying it, maybe second guessing that this may not be a good idea. I'm just saying. There is a high likely chance that if you took and you focused this message on mainstream media, and we potentially took and we saved a child from being taken because they saw this and their parents saw it and they started trying to actually pay attention to what they're doing on social media, what they're doing on some of these platforms. It's not just social media, people. It is video games as well. You can have a chat system in a video game. These kids come in contact with adults on a regular basis every single day. We're talking kids as young as 6 and 7, all the way up to 17 years old that are interacting with adults on a video game. What's to say that they are not interacting with them on their cell phone, on Snapchat, on Discord, on some sort of app? I'm telling you right now, you need to be looking at what your kids are doing. You need to be paying attention. You need to be having this conversation with your kids. That's what you need to be doing. Okay? So yeah, this is great stuff. I'm ecstatic about it. I'm very happy about it. I cannot give enough praise. Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, fantastic job. You guys keep doing what you're doing. I know you guys may not be working on what, some of us are really worried about. But I'm telling you, this right here, this is good stuff. I hope to see more of this. I can't wait to see it. So, with that, we're going to move into our next segment here. So, being the fact that I live in Florida, I happen to love my state. I think that we have one of the most fantastic governors in the country. And recently, there's been some things going on, right? And I know that, since Trump came into office, like we've been harping on this immigration thing, immigration. I got it. I know it's a big deal. But right now, Florida is on the top of the list because we got something going on called Alligator Alcatraz. That's right, Alligator Alcatraz. So I'm going to play a video here for you from our brand new Attorney General. He's been in office for a few months because, Ashley Moody was our Attorney General, and she got selected by Governor DeSantis to take Secretary Marco Rubio's Senate seat. So that opened up, and then Mr. James Utmeyer here became the Attorney General. So let's have a gander at that. If I can figure out where my watchy screen is. Here we go.
The Miami-Dade Collier training facility. This is an old, virtually abandoned airport facility right in the middle of the Everglades. Florida's been leading on immigration enforcement, supporting the Trump administration and ICE's efforts to detain and deport criminal aliens. The governor tasked state leaders to identify places for new temporary detention facilities. I think this is the best one. As I call it, Alligator Alcatraz. This 30 square mile area is completely surrounded by the Everglades. Presents a efficient, low-cost opportunity to build a temporary detention facility because you don't need to invest that much in the perimeter. People get out, there's not much waiting for them other than alligators and pythons. Nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. Within just 30 to 60 days after we begin construction, it could be up and running and could house as many as 1,000 criminal aliens. This presents a great opportunity for the state of Florida to work with Miami-Dade and Collier counties. Alligator Alcatraz, we're ready to go.
So yeah, isn't that something, huh? So yeah, so we got Alligator Alcatraz going on. Now, did do a little research here. Let's see if I can find it. Maybe. Oh, that was the video I was going to show earlier. Oh yeah. I'm not doing 30 minutes though. Not doing 30 minutes. We don't need that video. Anyways, so Alligator Alcatraz. Now this has really sparked some local controversy, okay? Because where this is located at is right next to Seminole Indian land, okay? Florida Seminoles. and Miccosukee Indians. Okay. Now, listen, I am not a Native American expert by any means. Okay. Listen, they got Seminoles in Florida, they got Miccosukee in Florida. They're a tribe. Okay. Two separate tribes doing the same thing. They got casinos, they got police departments, they're fancy, they got lots of money, and and they're upset, okay, that I guess the federal government, the state of Florida, is going to be building this alligator Alcatraz, right? And they're concerned about the environmental impact. Now, I have no idea what kind of environmental impact this might have, because they're setting up portables. Okay, they're not constructing buildings or anything like that. They are actually, in fact, putting up temporary housing. Okay, so if you remember back in the day, okay, when Joe Arpaio was the sheriff of Maricopa County in Arizona, okay, he came under significant, confrontation. I mean, they came after him, in litigation and everything, right? Because he had what he called a tent city. He literally had like military style tents set up at his jail, okay, to take and house these people. All right. So just think about that. Now, the federal government at one point came after him. It was like, oh, this is like cruel and unusual punishment. And he's like, no, it's not. If the soldiers that go out and fight for our country can take and stay in these tents, I'm quite certain that these criminals can do the same thing. Okay. Bandit, you're absolutely right. They had pink underwear and bologna sandwiches. That's all they got. All right. That's all they got. So, actually, let's catch up with chat real quick here. All right. So, M. Dodge is lost. He just said on X he was in chat and couldn't see us. M. Dodge might be on the Savage Patriot channel, because it is simulcasting. But that's possible. Let's see here. He's not lost. I'm lost. Tell him to close out Rumble completely and come back in. And it says illegals will be begging to go to El Salvador after a few days there. Yeah, they probably will. Bandit says they are building it. Construction started Monday. You're absolutely right. Yep. Finishing Tuesday. Bring in Jose. Oh, there's M. Dodge. M. Dodge made it. All right. All right. It flaked on me on BPL. Had to reload. Okay. No, not a problem. Not a problem. So yeah. So this is something that's cool. Now, I wanted to take and start out with this because I kind of want to do a comparison. Okay. I know I'm biased because I live in Florida. So I want you to kind of think about some of the things that are happening out in the rest of our country. Okay. And we'll take California as a fantastic example. All right. So Gavin Newsom, all right, let's go have a look over here. Not only is he, suing the Fox News, Jesse Waters specifically, for $787 million. Okay. Let's see if we can get down here to this fantastic thing. Yeah. Not interested. He did take and bolster about the fact that they are having more tax increases. Yeah. Especially on gas. Think about that. More gas increases. Or more tax increases. Okay. So yeah. So that to me is a huge thing, right? There are massive taxes. As a matter of fact, they have the highest tax rate out of any state in the United States. Okay. That's where it is. They are literally the exact opposite of what Florida is. And they are the most comparable state to Florida, because you think about it. We've got Disney World, they got Disneyland. right? So that in itself should kind of be like, okay, well, I kind of get that. So we have a Hollywood, Florida. They have a Hollywood, California. All right. I mean, we got all the same stuff, you know, kind of. We don't have the big Hollywood sign on a hill because, well, we're Florida. We don't have hills. We'd have to build one in order to do it, but we don't need one. So the difference is that we've got Ron DeSantis, okay, as our governor here. And instead of him wanting to raise taxes, he's actually trying to get taxes lowered. As a matter of fact, he's working on a thing right now, and it got announced the other day that because it would require an amendment to the state's constitution, okay, that we're going to vote in 2026 on whether or not to continue to pay property taxes. Who doesn't want to pay property taxes? Okay. I mean, I can't imagine what property taxes are out in California. I honestly couldn't. You know, I know that gas out there is already an astronomical price. And now they're talking about adding like a 20% increase. I'm like, are you kidding me? What is wrong with you people? Okay. They do everything backwards in California. Everything backwards in California. And the only thing that we seem to be talking about is the current governor there, right? Like, he is just absolute dog crap. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's true, right? It is true because he is. I mean, just look at how the fires and stuff were handled, you know? And President Trump talked about the fact that they were sending all of their water out to the ocean. For what? What if you have a fire? Well, I don't know what we'll do then, you know? Well, good for you, Gavin Newsom. You know? But that's the thing. These people out in California, they have been taken over. Ronald Reagan tried to warn us in the 50s that communists were in California, that they were actively engaged in trying to recruit people into the Communist Party, that they were actively, oh, I'm gonna need a drink. Ooh. That they were actively engaged in trying to take America into a communist type government. That was their focus. Okay. So we know that Ronald Reagan fought this fight, right? We know that in 1954, they passed the Communist Control Act. Okay. So we know these things. We know that these people, okay, are out there. We know that they're out there. And unfortunately, instead of taking and dealing with these people, utilizing the Communist Control Act of 1954, we've allowed these people to be here, to cement themselves, to fester. Okay? And that's how you get people like Gavin Newsom. That's exactly it. Karen Bass. Okay? People that are just complete socialists, complete democratic socialists. As Rev would call them, Nazis. Okay, that's what they're basically are becoming, is because they want total, absolute control. Okay, they don't want you to be able to do anything. And the unfortunate thing is that some of the people in California are just totally on board with this. They're like, "Oh yeah, that sounds great. That's amazing. It's amazing." I'm like, that's not amazing. It's not amazing at all. So I took and I found someone who's running for governor. Okay. And this guy, I'm thinking, is probably a pretty good, idea. So let's have a gander. Let's have a look at Chad Bianco. Okay. Chad Bianco, he is the sheriff of Riverside County, California. He is running as a Republican. All right. And we want to take him. We want to look at this. All right. So 5 hours ago, he posted a Gavin Newsom's 4th of July gift to all Californians as a major gas price hike. Californians already have the highest gas prices in the nation. Okay. So let's have a look here. There's an article. Yep, gas prices will, the likely rise in gas prices will take effect January 1st. Wow. Wow, apparently it's an article here. Let's have a look. All right, it says on here the controversial clean air rules in California that could significantly raise gas prices are officially set to take effect July 1. The rules were temporarily on hold for months after the state's Office of Administrative Law that updates to the new low carbon fuel standard program needed dozens of non-substantive technical changes to the way they were written. Wow, that is okay. That's good for you. Non-substantive technical. Who makes these words? Just say that you needed to change it, all right? I don't need you to add fluff to it. So implementing the July 1 effective date for the LCFS, low carbon fuel standard, okay, provides critical certainty to industry as well as the credits market. All right, so the LCFS credit market, what in the world? Said CARB board chair Leanne Randolph, but often lost in the noise around this program are our primary reasons for approving it. Better health for Californians, our economy and the environment, as well as achieving required state and federal air quality standards. People, listen, it doesn't matter, okay, what kind of liberal nonsense law that you pass, okay? It's not gonna change anything, especially if it's going to take and cost more to fuel your vehicle. Okay, I don't know what you're trying to achieve out there other than costing the working people more money. That's what you're doing. You're taking food out of families' mouths. Okay, that is literally what you're doing. You're making it more difficult for people who either have a job or are looking for a job to actually maintain that. That's an issue. You are looking out for who? For the psycho people that they vote for you? Okay, great. Well, I know there are people in California that are going to think that this is amazing, it's wonderful, and they just can't believe that they haven't implemented this stuff in the rest of the country because something must be wrong with us. Does anybody know what it costs gas in California right now? Kind of curious. Let's, yeah, all right, so we're going to look over chat real quick. Let's see what's happening here. Bandit said, I can't remember the name of the Russian defector that warned about this. Yuri something. Yeah, yeah, okay. Moving on. Yuri Alexandrovich Bezmenov. Right. I don't speak Russian. When you are in the party and the party is the priority, you become a socialist. Kind of semi-anonymous and or communist. I got you, Tech. Drop gas to 50 cents a gallon. It doesn't matter in California. They will raise it for the revenue. Cali will never have cheap gas. MDOT says that currently right now, gas is around $4.25 a gallon. $4.25 a gallon. Now, right here in my hometown, it's $2.96. Think about that. That is wow. That is significant. Okay. Oh, Miss Rain is here. Hello, Miss Rain. All right. So Highway Dog says close to $6. Miss Rain says around $6 a gallon as well. And Jason King says it is also $7.50. Okay, I guess it varies. It depends on where you're at. That is pretty significant. Very significant, okay, as far as the gas prices. And they're doing this in the name of, better health for Californians and the environment, okay? What's the point in worrying about the environment if the people that are here can't afford to enjoy the environment? I mean, if you don't let them be able to go to work, then what are we going to do? Not only does that going to take a cost, let's think about this for a second here, okay? Because this reminds me of the same kind of crap about the whole minimum wage thing, Okay. They wanted to push for this $15 minimum wage. Everybody needs to be making $15 now. At a minimum, it needs to be made. It's not going to do anything to the businesses. It's not going to do anything like that. You know what McDonald's did? McDonald's laid off like 30% of their people and replaced them with a freaking kiosk. Okay, a computer. They replaced them with a computer, people. All right. So think about that for a second. All right. You're going to take and you're going to add this price. It's going to adversely affect your economy because not only are the people that have to go to work going to have to pay more, their bosses that own the companies that they work for are going to have to increase their prices because they're going to have to contend with a high fuel cost. I mean, do you people in California have any clue what an economy is or how it works? I mean, I'm not an economist by any means, but I'm pretty confident that if you take and you raise the price on one thing, it's going to have an adverse effect on other things. They think this is only going to take and change one thing, and they're going to save the environment about it. Who cares? I'm not worried about the environment. I'm worried about whether or not I can put food on the table. I'm worried about whether or not whenever I go to get gas that I can afford it and I'll have enough money in the bank in order to put it in there. That's what I'm worried about. These people are more concerned about whether or not the earth is going to be here when the human race is long gone and dead than whether or not we can take and afford to live here, to work here, to raise a family here. They're not worried about anything else. This is just another indication of socialist ideology being pushed by the left, being supported by the left, in order to take and add more control to you, the citizen. And in California, they're going to vote for it all day. They are. They're going to vote for it all day. So, again, I'm telling you right now, you need to be talking to people in California. Gavin Newsom is not your friend. You need to be looking at somebody like Chad Bianco. Sheriff Chad Bianco has good plans. He's a Republican. He's a conservative. And he is out there and he is voicing his opinion in clear opposition of everything that the left stands for. Actually, if I had an opportunity to talk to Sheriff Chad Bianco, I would be telling him, buddy, listen, if this thing doesn't work out for the governor, which I don't know, you should come to Florida. We would welcome you here in Florida. Because that's why, you know, we thrive here because we want people that have like-minded ideas. Literally, we're not looking for you to pick a side, Republican or Democrat. We're just looking for you to have some sort of common sense. That's just not that common anymore, unfortunately. And that's the very, you know, issue here. It's just not that common. So again, why are we not looking at somebody like Chad Bianco? You know, we need to be looking at somebody like Chad Bianco. Okay. He's got some videos here. Let me see if I can play one real quick. Here we go. I got one.
Today I am in the city of Oakland.
Oh, and that one's playing. Let me switch over to my other screen real quick here. Actually, get this one. All right.
Hello, California. Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco. Today I am in the city of Oakland, and I am standing in front of what is or was truly one of California's most iconic businesses, In-N-Out Burger. In-N-Out Burger represents California. It's about achieving the California dream and not only doing everything that they could for their business and their family, but for their employees. Unfortunately, this location in Oakland is the only In-N-Out Burger that has ever been closed. And they were forced to close the business because rampant crime was affecting not only their customers, but their employees with shootings, robberies, stabbings, burglaries, cars getting stolen. And the business had to be closed for the safety of customers and employees. It is sad that this is where we are because of a failed political agenda of city leadership, of state leadership, of an agenda pushed by Governor Gavin Newsom and the people that go along with this. On the way into this location, we traveled through homeless camps, through graffiti riddled roads and trash. We have to come to a place where public safety is number one. The state of California has to be safe. Californians deserve better. It's time we make crime a crime again. The residents of Oakland deserve better, and Californians deserve better.
What I'm saying, there's a guy that's running for governor, okay, in California. His name is Chad Bianco. I've reached out to his campaign. I've reached out to him. I'm waiting on a response. I'm really hopeful I can try and get him on the show here at some point, because I'd love to have a conversation with him, okay? Really would. But let's think about this for a moment, okay? You've got the governor right now. Obviously, you know, there's an election coming up and everything, and he's over here. He's focused on what Jesse Waters had to say on Fox News. So he's suing them, okay? And now they got this new thing going into effect. It's going to raise gas prices and whatever, you know, and it's going to dramatically affect the families of California, all right? But meantime, here you go. You got a guy that's running for governor. He's a current sheriff, okay? And he goes to a place in California. He shows you that there's a business that has been closed because they don't feel safe. There are shootings, there are robberies, their employees don't feel safe, their customers don't feel safe. My God, people, if you can't literally go and have a business, okay, for the sake that someone may come in and shoot you and rob you because that's the kind of neighborhood that you're in, maybe your representatives, your elected officials need to be thinking about, how do we take and fix this? Because I'm here to tell you, trying to save the environment from gases or cow farts or whatever the hell it is that you think you're trying to save it from is not going to help when your people are getting shot at. And it doesn't surprise me in the least that this is the type of stance that the California government would take. I mean, he even said that they had to travel through homeless camps. What in the world, people? Okay? I mean, literally at one point, you couldn't go down San Francisco and Sacramento without seeing people taking a shit on the sidewalk. Okay? What more do you need to indicate that there is an issue, a significant issue, and you're not doing anything about it? Nothing. You would rather treat those people that are homeless like criminals, okay, as opposed to take and create some sort of plan that would genuinely help these people. It would help them find employment. It would help them get cleaned up. It would help them with some sort of assistance. You are the party of wanting to give handouts, of wanting to help people. But because these people don't meet your narrative, you won't help them. That right there is a clear indication that you people shouldn't be in charge. If you are liberal and you look down on people that are homeless because of your policies, and you don't want to do anything in order to help them to no longer be homeless, you are the problem. You are not only the reason that they are in that position, but you are also the reason why they continue to stay in that position. And these people are desperate to have some sort of help. But instead of you helping, you're going to worry about the environment. Well, I mean, call me crazy. If we're worried about the freaking cow farts, why are we not worried about the homeless people taking a shit on the street? I mean, who wants to walk their dog down the street? They're walking their dog and listen, you got to pick up your dog's crap, right? Could you imagine walking your dog down the street and a homeless person takes a shit while your dog is taking a shit? And you got to pick up your dog shit, but he just looks, you know, the homeless guy looks at you as he just yanks up his stuff and walks away with a giant turd on the ground? Yeah, nobody ain't picking that up. Nobody's picking that up. Gavin Newsom ain't picking that up. They think that if they don't talk about this problem, if they ignore it, it'll just go away. People, it's not going away. California, you got serious problems. You don't want to address your problems. You want to address climate control. Oh my God, people. There are more important things than climate control. Take care of your people. Because in Florida, no. We don't have people that do that. And if they do, well, then we make sure that there are things in place that are going to help us deal with that problem. And I say deal with that problem, like we're actually going to take and we're going to provide them with some sort of assistance. Okay, we're going to take them someplace. We're going to get them some help. We're going to see that they don't have to be homeless anymore. So, again, clear contrast. California and Florida. So, what else could we talk about? Oh, I know. We recently had a bunch of riots out in California. You remember those things? They were mostly peaceful, right? They were mostly peaceful, okay? Like, who comes up with this stuff? Did you AI that response? Did somebody, did you AI that? Were you like, hey, Grok? By the way, so we have some very violent riots going on right now. I don't want to really call them violent. I think I want to try and, and portray them as kind of peaceful or something. What type of language would you suggest? And I bet it cranks out, oh, you should say that they're mostly peaceful. No, they're not. No matter how you want to take and you want to, try and portray them as mostly peaceful, they were violent protests. Violent, okay? In my opinion, as a law enforcement officer, I'm telling you that they are most likely terrorists. Or, here's a better one, they're waving the flag of a foreign nation. They are here conducting an invasion. They are conducting war on our soil. But California doubles down. No, you don't understand. These people, even though we don't have a freaking clue who they are, we don't know what country that they came from until they started waving their flag. They're a part of our community. Okay, so hold on a second. Let me see if I got this right. Because not only does California want to ignore the violence that these people cause, they have policies and they have budget proportions set aside to help people who are not from this country. Yet, they have one of the largest homeless problems in the country. And they do nothing for those people. The homeless people, who I would venture to guess, I haven't went out and conducted a census or anything, but something tells me that they are most likely American citizens. And because they're most likely American citizens, they are receiving zero assistance from California. Meanwhile, if you come to this country illegally and go to California, they're going to help you. They're going to provide you with food stamps. They're going to provide you with health care. They're going to do all sorts of stuff, okay, to try and help people who are not citizens of this country and then take a shit all over the people who are. And then those of you that are not homeless are looking at California and you're like, oh, look, we're so welcoming to our neighbors from Mexico and everywhere else. We're just such great people because we're concerned about the environment, and I really think that we should focus more on the LGBTQ community. What? It makes me wonder, what the hell is in the water in California? Do you people test this stuff? Like, is it contaminated with something? Obviously, in Riverside County, where Sheriff Chad Bianco is at, he's not indoctrinated with the Kool-Aid. He hasn't drank that stuff. He's like, no. Well, no, we don't do that. No. Again, clear example of why Florida is not California. Because here in Florida, not only do we not help illegal immigrants, we actually are participating fully in coordination with ICE to take and detain and remove illegal immigrants. And we're not, surrounded by another country. Like, we're not landlocked to a foreign country, okay? We get people that come here from other states, okay, have entered illegally, usually out of the Texas, or the southern border. They've made their way. A lot of them have been human trafficked here. Okay. A lot of them also come from the Bahamas, all right, or Cuba. They'll make their way to Florida from the ocean way. They'll end up in a boat. They'll be here. Has anybody heard the news that they got like 17 Iranians out of the Bahamas who are trying to take and come to Florida? Anybody hear that story? Because that's the other thing that kills me with these people, okay? They want to try and persuade you in thinking that the only people that are illegal immigrants are those of Latin descent. They're either Mexican, El Salvadorian, Colombian, Venezuelan, Guatemalan. Those are the only people that are coming. People, we've got Iranians coming from other countries trying to get into our country, okay? We're talking a few-hour boat trip from the Bahamas to Florida with 17 Iranians. That concerns the hell out of me, especially given the fact that I don't live that far from a nuclear power plant. And what did we just get done doing? We just got done bombing Iran. What are they warning us about? Iranian sleeper cells. Boy, I tell you, that right there, that's stuff that concerns me. So, hey, kudos to law enforcement for making sure that we took and we got these people, right? But the left will not. They want to address it. They want to address that we have all of these people coming across. What was it? Last month, they had a couple Chinese people coming through here trying to traffic in some sort of fungus from their country that would have absolutely destroyed food crops here in America. We would have ran into a food shortage because this fungus would have contaminated so many different crops that our farmers produce for us so that we can have food. But none of the liberals are going to want to talk about that. Nobody in California is going to want to talk about that. Okay? Again, it's like the homeless people. Well, if we don't talk about it, we don't think about it, we don't look at them, then it'll go away. No, people, it's not going away. We are under an active threat every single second of the day. And we are under an attack right now, more so than we ever have been, because we just spent 4 years of having a completely unchecked immigration system of just letting people come on over. And to me, someone needs to be held accountable. Why? Why don't I see arrest? Why don't I see arrest? I don't know why. I don't know. But we don't do that stuff in Florida. We don't do that. We don't let these people get here. Okay? Some 17 Iranians that were found out there in the Bahamas, yeah, not coming to Florida. You're not coming to the United States. All right? We don't know what you're about, but you're not coming here. You're not going to seek refuge in our country because we just bombed yours. But let's think about that for a second, okay? We just bombed your country, and the first thing you want to do is try and come into our country? Yeah, that seems a little skeptical to me. Just a little suspicious, okay? Like, I don't know what it is that you're thinking, but I'm thinking that no, you don't belong here. You do not belong here, okay? And that's the other thing, I mean, we're talking about all of the ICE immigration. I mean, good God, DOJ Barbie, she can't talk enough about it. She's on every freaking news channel there is, telling you about how many ICE this and ICE that and immigration and this, and Tom Holman's, talking to you about the most secure border and nobody came here and we rounded up all these people. I am so happy that you're rounding up these people, okay? But those are not the stories I want to hear. Those are not the stories I want to hear. I want to hear how we're stopping these terrorists from getting in here, okay? I know for a fact that during those 4 years we had people from Libya, Syria, come through the southern border. And don't think for a moment that we don't have people coming from Canada. Guaranteed, especially now that we took and we put in a no-fly list, right? So now these people from these terrorist known countries are not allowed to take and fly in, or are we allowed to take and send anybody, to those countries by flight, which means that they have to take and do one of two things. They've either got to go to a connecting country like Mexico, or They're going to go to Canada on our northern border. And we've focused so much attention on that southern border that we have forgotten about that northern border on Canada. And I'm telling you right now, we need to be focused up there, because I ain't worried about the people so much on the southern border. We seem to got that pretty well locked down. Now I'm worried about the people that are coming in through Canada. And let me tell you, that's a treacherous type of border right there, okay? There's a lot of woods. There's a lot of ways for them to take and come through here completely undetected, all right? And then infiltrate our country. And these people are not the kind of people that are coming here that simply just want to come and, you know, run around and knife people like the guy from Egypt, okay? These are probably successful hackers that are here to take down our grid, our power grid, our internet, everything. They are trying to take and collapse us. Not only are they coming after us through our infrastructure, these people are already here. They've been in place. Just look out of New York City. Zoran Mamdani, or whatever his name is, a self-proclaimed democratic socialist. The guy wants to legalize sex workers, for crying out loud. Are you kidding me? Like, why? Why would you want to do that? I don't get it. But the people on the left champion this guy. Bernie Sanders, AOC, all of them. All of them are just, they're so excited. Bill Clinton, Bill, listen, Bill. At some point, you need to learn to shut the hell up, okay? I'm sure Hillary has probably told you this before. You might want to listen to her, okay? Because there's a good chance you might know something that could land Hillary in jail, and the next thing you know, I don't know, buddy, you're out for a walk. I mean, like that Seth Rich guy, you know, he was out for a jog, and, you know, just remember, you are married to Hillary, okay? I'm not sure whether or not she still needs you. Just be quiet, all right? Besides, nobody wants to know what you think. You're some freaking, I don't even know how old he is now. He looks like some 80-some-year-old pedophile, okay? And we know went to Epstein Island. We know this. We know he was a sex addict, and, you know, when he was governor, and he was a sex addict when he was in the White House. Again, these are the kind of people that are trying to tell you how to live your life. And they're trying to restrict the amount of decisions that you can make in your life. Not in Florida. We don't do that in Florida. You know that we've had a significant influx of people coming to Florida. We've had about, I don't know, I think it's like 2,600 people a day moving to Florida. That's a lot. That's a lot. Okay? We are significantly increasing our population here. And not to mention, not only are we increasing our population, we outnumber Democrats, okay, by over 1 million registered Republicans. That's right. We are a complete red state right this second, as far as the voter roll goes, okay? We're red. We got the majority, okay? So, yeah, things are looking pretty good here. We want to get rid of property taxes, okay? He just took he did another bill for veterans. We're doing a lot of stuff for veterans. We're actually making housing available for veterans. I mean, we're talking significant improvement for people's lives. We're not focused on things like, well, what about the environment? Okay, we're not focused on any of that stuff. That's not our concern. Our concern is whether or not our people, our citizens, Florida citizens, Floridians, have a successful life in this state, are able to live comfortably, raise a family, go to work, afford gas. Those are the things that we are doing here in Florida. We are doing the exact opposite of what they're doing in California, the exact opposite of what they're doing in Illinois, the exact opposite of what they're doing in New York. You got to ask yourself, why do so many people leave New York and come to states like Florida? It's because they're tired of the socialist regime trying to control their life. These people are trying to tell you that they want to make your life better, but in actual reality, they are not. They are not making your life better. They want control of your life. They want to remove your ability to make decisions. They want to make your decisions for you, and those are forced upon you without you even paying attention. I guarantee you, if it continues on this course and you make no action whatsoever in removing these corrupt socialist people, communists, out of your government, one day you're going to be eating the bologna sandwiches, and that's all that you got. And you only have one change of clothes, and that's all that you got. And everybody's wearing the same thing because that's all you got. And you live in a camp because that's all you got. All your fancy houses and all your electric vehicles and everything else that you got and your little ticky-tock and all that stuff, if you keep on down this path with these socialist, communist, as Rev calls them, Nazis, you're not going to have anything. You think right now that you are making the best decision because that's what everybody else is doing. They're just going along with the flow. But I'm telling you right now, when you vote and you support someone like Gavin Newsom, someone like Governor Hochul or Andrew Cuomo or Zoran Mamadi or whatever his name is, then I'm telling you right now, these people are going to take everything from you. You think you're doing a good thing, but I'm here to tell you that you're not. In the moment that you find out, it'll be too late. Your freedom will be gone. Every single freedom that you ever had will be gone. The best thing of freedom that you can hope for once these people have full control over this country, full control over you, is the simple fact that you might have the involuntary response to have to go to the bathroom. That is the most freedom that you'll get. And that's it. That's where it's at. So if you're in California and you don't know anything about Sheriff Chad Bianco, I strongly encourage you to take and research him. I strongly encourage you to take and share his message, because it's got to be a change in the government out in California. And it's high time that we get someone like Sheriff Bianco to come in there and lay the smack down. Start actually having laws that benefit and help the citizens, because we can't continue on like this, people. I mean, if we took and we lived in New York City under this new Zoran guy, and he wants to legalize sex workers, now I'm sure that there is these sexual deviants out there that eventually hopefully get arrested by the FBI or law enforcement somewhere along the line for all their sexual deviant behavior. But he wants to legalize sex workers? Yeah. That really takes and makes you think real quick, well, what exactly are his priorities? Because now that you took and you legalized it, what does that do for your people? I mean, are we talking like, are you going to start getting campaign donations from like legal sex worker companies? Like, is that going to be a thing? Are we going to start seeing the CEOs of a sex worker company on the news now, and we're going to be interviewing them on The View? Oh, that'll be rich. That'll be real rich. Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm not trying to be sexist or anything here, but you liberal people have just absolutely destroyed women. Destroyed women. And any woman that thinks that along with, in any way, shape, or form with you, has got a serious mental issue. These people are trying to take and make it to where women no longer matter. They want men pretending to be women to play in your sports. They want men pretending to be women to go in the bathroom with your 9-year-old daughter. Yeah. Let's think about that for a second. Your 9-year-old daughter, your 12-year-old daughter, your 15-year-old daughter is in the bathroom with a grown man, okay, that thinks he's a woman. Already right there, that should be a huge red flag. That should indicate to you that there is something mentally wrong with that person, because this person is born as a man and thinks that they are a woman and is now in the bathroom with your child. Would you want to leave them in the room alone Would you really want them in the bathroom with your child? Do you really want your child to be exposed to something like that? These are the kind of people that you're voting for in California, that you're voting for in Illinois, that you're voting for in New York. These kinds of people are sick. And if you think that is the kind of leadership that your state or your city needs, you yourself have a serious mental health problem as well. Someone needs to be trying to help you with your mental health problem, because you shouldn't be allowed to vote for stupid shit like this. You shouldn't. There should be a law that says that you can't vote for people. People like this can't run for office because they have a serious mental health illness. They think that they are something that they are not. They think it's okay to pretend to be something that you're not. They think that it's okay for a man to play in women's sports. They think it's okay for a man to be in a woman's bathroom. That's what I'm telling you, that these people are crazy. They've gone full retard. Full retard. And I'm not talking, like retard, people that are having, some sort of actual physical disability. I'm talking like these people, they were tarded, okay? And now they've been retarded. All right? Kind of like a tire. They had a tread, and now they need a retread. And that's the other thing with this party. This party changes so much on such a regular basis. I get so confused. I mean, we've seen the countless videos at this point, okay, of Obama, Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Jerry Nadler, okay, all champion the things that Doge has done, but from 20 some years ago, right? Or 30 years ago. We've seen that. We've also seen the same people telling you how we need to let illegal immigrants come into this country. But 25, 30 years ago, they were on the other side telling you that they can't. That they needed to take and they needed to deport them. They needed to detain them. They needed to secure the border. What changed? I'll tell you what changed. It was Trump. Trump changed. They're scared to death of this guy. Scared to death of him. So what else are we doing down here in Florida? Oh, I tell you, there's good stuff here. There's good stuff. I love the governor. I think he's fantastic. Okay. He took in and he signed a law the other day talking about condo relief. Okay, giving some of these folks the the relief that they need. So condo owners down here in Florida, like if you own a condo, all right, and something happens to that condo, like we've had a couple collapses here, right? These are older buildings and whatnot. Then you as the owner are on the hook, okay, for the rebuild, right? And literally, like, yeah, you own the condo, but like it's up to the building manager. It's up to the place that built it or whoever owns it or whatever to take and maintain it and do that. It's not up to the owner, because it's like owning a timeshare, except you don't share it with anybody, right? So again, here we go. Not only do we do things like that, but when the Israel-Iran thing was going on, Ron DeSantis, utilizing his resources, the Florida State Guard, that's right, we have a thing called the Florida State Guard, one of the few, I mean, actually, I don't even know. I think Alabama might have something similar, but I'm not 100%. But Florida has something called the Florida State Guard. We're kind of like the National Guard, but this one is specifically Florida. And they do a lot of different things. They do a lot of search and rescue. They do a lot of storm recovery efforts and things of that nature. I mean, they got major aviation units as well. He facilitated flights to go and get American citizens out of Iran during the whole missile conflict that was going on over there and brought them back to Florida. Yeah, we're talking plane loads, huge planes of American citizens that were stuck, that had no way to get out of that country, okay? Because they couldn't get a flight, they couldn't get out of there. They were literally stuck in an active, ongoing, like war zone type thing that's happening. And our governor from the state of Florida made it happen. He got these people out of there and flew them to Florida. Or was Gavin Newsom when that happened? How come Gavin Newsom didn't do that? How come Governor Hochul out of New York didn't do that? What about J.B. Pritzker out of Illinois? I mean, that guy is literally a billionaire, and you're telling me he couldn't have facilitated, you know, hell, he could have bought an airline and made it happen. But no, that's not what he's worried about. He's worried about whether or not men can play in women's sports. Yeah. He's worried about trying to stop the Trump administration from deporting illegal immigrants in his state. That's what he's focused on. Instead of being focused on American citizens, he's more focused on people who should never have been in this country in the first place. And I don't understand why people don't get this. How do you not get this? How do you not sit here and scream at the top of your lungs, stop fighting for people that don't belong in this country and start fighting for people who are American citizens? Our American citizens were stuck in the Middle East amidst the conflict between Israel and Iran. We were literally a week away from bombing Iran. And the Florida governor provided transport for these people. Just saying. Just saying. Another contrast to how Florida is compared to these liberal states. Okay? And again, I know, I'm partial. I'm partial because, are we still going on here? Yeah, okay. I'm partial because I live in the state. I love the state. Okay? So, not only do we have great things like that going on here, we're also one of the premier locations for aerospace, aviation, defense, and transportation companies, okay? Literally, like the Kennedy Space Center is here, okay? This is where we've launched all of our space vehicles from the Apollo missions all the way to our current state missions that we do now, basically now with SpaceX, right? So, once again, Florida is doing something that other states aren't necessarily doing. Oh, must be interesting, right? So, we talked about the difference here. Oh, wait a minute. I found another one. Oh, my goodness. Hang on a second. I found a thing. So, the governor awarded $10 million through the Florida Job Growth Grant Fund, okay? And he is awarding over $10 million in workforce education investments to local state colleges, all right? You ready for this? So he gave $1.5 million to the Eastern Florida State College. He gave $1.3 million to the Indian River State College, $2.8 million to the Polk State College, $2.8 million to the Seminole State College, and $1.5 million to the Valencia College, okay? To expand its electrician, technician, and welding technology to align with industry needs in the construction sector, the college plans to expand student capacity in these programs at both the Osceola and Orange County campuses and add an orbital welding program. Again, here we are. We're talking about making things better for our citizens. We're making things better. We are providing educational benefits for people to go out, not necessarily get a degree. Anybody can go out and get a degree. Anybody can go and take a test. Okay? These people are going to learn trade skills. They're going to learn how to be an electrician. They're going to learn how to do welding. These are critical skills that we need here in Florida for our construction. Because why? Because we have thousands of people that want to move to this state. We have thousands of people that are coming here, and we do not have the housing to take and hold them. So they're, guess what? They're building. What does building a house require? It requires electricians. It requires welders. Because we have to take and build our houses specifically to confront difficult storms like hurricanes. That's right, people. We have hurricanes. 165-mile-an-hour hurricanes that come roaring through our state every year. We got to deal with them for about 6 months. We have billions of dollars in damage, but the building standards here have gotten significantly better, and we see a lower impact every time we see these hurricanes come and strike some of the newer developments that have recently built with these newer building standards. Okay? So, not only does it do welding, it also does HVAC. Okay? It's doing building construction technology and robotics programs at one of the colleges. Let's see here. Computer numerical control machining program with additional tracks and stackable credentials, and establish a new welding program. They're also at another college. They are working on the Space Coast region's growing construction and engineering industries through expansion of existing vocational trade programs. That's what I'm talking about. We need more trade programs. We need more people. We need these kids that are graduating high school to learn a trade, to be a successful citizen. I use the word citizen quite often. They're not necessarily a resident. They're not a visitor. They're not an illegal. They are a citizen. We're talking about citizens here, okay? We're talking about citizens that are going to learn a trade, and they are going to contribute to society. They're going to make our state better. They're going to make America great again. Because sending someone to college, to an Ivy League school, for them to learn from a person who's never probably held a job and has the most socialistic, communist ideas, is just not working anymore. I would rather hire people that have a trade and a skill than someone who has a degree. Simply because I look at colleges as a waste of time when it comes to that. When you send them to these big colleges, it is nothing more than a party zone for them. They take a test, or they pay someone to take their test, and that's it. When you get down to these local level colleges, like these ones I just rattled off here, that's when they're learning real stuff, okay? They are learning serious education stuff that's going to benefit them out in the field. That's what we need. We need people that are going to benefit them in the field. Any River State College is one of the best nursing programs in the state of Florida. One of the best. You literally will take this program. Not only will you get a job while you're taking the program, okay, but you'll learn so much on the job from your clinicals and everything else. You are literally helping people just by going to the class. Wow. That's amazing. But nobody's talking about this. We would rather talk about climate control, okay, and how horrible Trump is, than we would like to talk about whether or not we are doing something to make our society better. I know. So, what else do we got going? Oh my goodness, we almost killed 2 hours. John comes to life when I shut up. I tell you, man, I'm really grateful to Rev for the opportunity to come on Friday nights and have this show. I like the fact that it's on a Friday night. It's just literally it's one day a week, right? And it really gives me an opportunity to kind of like review the news and its completeness and really find out what it is that I want to talk about, because there's a lot of things I want to talk about, but I don't want to get on and just be constantly negative, I don't want to do that. But man, like we talked about tonight in the first part of that show, 508 kids, 508 missing kids rescued in a span of 3 months. That right there. If you didn't listen to anything else in this show, just think, in 3 months, law enforcement has saved 508 kids from sexual predators. That right there. That, if I knew how to take it and make that the title of this stream, I would. Okay, so just think about that. Okay, but I am extremely grateful for Rev. I really enjoy the opportunity to come out here and have this show. We're still working through some kinks, and I know it'll get better. Because I want everybody to be here on the Boiling Point Live channel. This is the channel that I want you to be on. I want everybody here. I want us to grow this channel. I want us to continue to see this channel, expand into other areas, with more commentators and more creators, and get more people in the chat. I love seeing you guys out here in the chat. I love taking an opportunity to try and read the chat when I can. So let's have a gander over here and see what's going on. Patriot Kyle says facts. Trades are the way. VJ Flanders says good day, y'all. Hey, are you from Canada? Hey. Rev says John comes to life when I shut up. Well, I guess sometimes you just got to shut the hell up and let me talk. Damn it, let me talk. Patriot Kyle says my mom is high up in the college system and she always says to me trades instead of a degree. Very good, excellent. Tick says John is the quiet beetle. Then he's not. M Dodge says who is Rev and where is Evita? Oh my goodness. Yeah. But I think tonight's been a really good show. I'm very happy, for this. But I do have one more thing that I want to talk about. I found something, and this got me good earlier. Let me see if I can find it. Oh,
breaking news from the state.
Okay. We're going to watch this. I'll put it on the big screen here.
State House, one of the biggest bills in breaking news from
just so we know, this is out of Rhode Island. Okay. Rhode Island. Little bitty Rhode Island. Little bitty.
The State House, one of the biggest bills in front of the Senate, the assault weapons ban has passed by a vote of 25-11.
Sophia Zabo joins us now live from the State House with an update.
Well, after years of trying to get legislation like this passed, a revised version of what made it through the House has now made it through the Senate on a vote of 25-11. It's a relief for some, it's a blow to others. Now people's attention is turning to the House to see how they are going to react. Now, what the bill does, it's revised and it restricts the sale, manufacturing, and purchase of what the legislation calls military-style weapons. But unlike the bill that recently passed in the House, it does not ban the possession of these firearms. Other revisions made to that bill include getting rid of the registration requirement, plus a more precise definition of the weapons that would be banned, which includes certain rifles and shotguns. Today in the chambers, we saw Republican Whip Gordon Rogers introduce an amendment that would allow people to inherit these weapons after its owner had passed on. That failed. Senator De La Cruz introduced an amendment that would have pushed back the date the bill would take effect by 1 year. That also failed. The discussions continued. Both sides became heated. Senate President Val Lawson refused to allow a debate on a Democratic amendment that would have changed the bill back to that broader ban approved by the House, while Republicans called out what they say is a blatant violation of the Second Amendment.
I will be voting for today's bill, but I will be doing so over my own very deep disappointment in this chamber because we had the opportunity to do something better, stronger, and with much more moral clarity than we are doing.
I know this is very strong. I couldn't think of another word, and maybe it's because I feel very strongly about this, but I think it's a pathetic comparison to use coins and jewels when it pertains to the Second Amendment, a constitutionally guaranteed right. Jewels and coins are not, but my firearms are.
Now all eyes are turned to the House, where House Speaker Joseph Sakarchi has finally indicated what he might do. Now his office tells us he plans to meet with Representative Jason Knight, who introduced that Assault Weapons Ban Act to the House in the first place. He also plans to meet with some other people at dinner break tonight to discuss what their steps are going to be moving forward. Now lawmakers intend to wrap up their work for the year this evening. Reporting live in the State House, Sophia Zabo.
So let's think about this for a moment here. Okay, Rhode Island is voted on a bill that prohibits the sale, manufacture, and purchase of assault-styled weapons. Okay, which they clearly have not defined yet, right? They don't know what that is, but they did not, make it to where you can't possess it. So you could literally, drive 10 minutes, in any direction in Rhode Island and enter into another state and go buy an assault weapon and then come back, right? Because obviously that makes sense, right? I mean, come on, people. We know for a fact that gun-free zones are not going to do anything to the criminals. We know that those laws, those types of laws, this type of thinking out of Rhode Island is only to take and suppress the law-abiding citizen and remove their Second Amendment constitutional right. That is what happened in Rhode Island. I don't know if you'll see it on the mainstream media. I'm sure that there is a liberal out there somewhere running for some freaking office that is going to champion this cause. But I tell you, this story right here, this one got under my craw just a little bit, okay? Because I can't support anything like this. Any type of restriction on my Second Amendment right shouldn't even be a discussion. We shouldn't be having this discussion. I shouldn't be telling you about this story because this kind of shit shouldn't be happening. But little old Rhode Island, look at them. Nobody even pays any mind to Rhode Island. I mean, who knows? Who's even said the word Rhode Island in the last, 6 months, a year? Hell, the last time I thought about Rhode Island, I was watching Me, Myself, and Irene, okay? That's what I think about Rhode Island. But we're here, and we're fixing to wrap up. I appreciate everybody that's been joining me. This is our third show on Friday night. I think it's been pretty good. I was trying to get a co-host for tonight, but nobody wanted to join, which is okay. I managed all by little lonesome over here. It's no big deal. Certainly, we covered a lot of topics, but like I said a few minutes ago, I want you to leave tonight. I want you to leave watching the show tonight and remember that in the last 3 months, 508 missing children were saved from being tortured by sexual predators. Yeah. 508 missing children were saved from sexual predators. Sexual predators that have been trafficking in them and doing all sorts of God knows what. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I am talking about. That's what I want you guys to take and focus on. All right, so let's see. Let's look at the chat real quick here. Good show. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you, Sorrenti. I appreciate that. Patriot Cop says you held it down, brother. Appreciate that. Tick says, I swear too much to be on your show. That is not true, and I welcome you anytime, Tick. Jason says, my son asked his mom if he can get some salt and pepper. Her goofy ass broke out into shoopity doop. M. Dodge says it was a great podcast. Have a great weekend, everyone. We will see you in 10 days. I will unplug while on vacation. We'll post on my daily line on X and turn my phone off after later. And with that, we're going to call it a good night. So, God bless you. God bless these United States of America, and have a great weekend. Thank you.